Hi, I'm Charles, owner and director of Kaleidoscope Rock Academy and Kaleidoscope School of Music here in the Seattle area. And this is another video about my Godin xtSA guitar, but this one's less of a demo and more of a story. As the title of this video suggests, it's been a bumpy ride with this guitar, and so I'm trying to kind of render a verdict here. I mean, is this guitar worth it? Is it all it's meant to be, or is it kind of a boondoggle? The easy answer to that question for me is when I'm doing multiple layers of things, it's pretty amazing. So right now I'm running this guitar on all three outputs. I've got it running piezo acoustic simulation to a Fishman mini Loudbox or Loudbox mini. I've got it running to a spark amp off the electric pickups, and I've also got the output from the synth pickup going into a Roland GR-55. But yeah, when you've got it rolling on all three outputs, I'm on a patch called full section. I can run the acoustic a little bit louder, because the acoustic gives it this nice punch. So being able to do that type of sound off of one guitar where you've got a blend of all three voices, that's the benefit of this guitar. But getting here has been tough. I bought this guitar about 2 years ago, around January 1st of 2021. And when it arrived, the acoustic sounds are great, the electric sounds are great, but I did not yet own a guitar synthesis pedal. So for the first 4 or 5 months, I was only using it the other two ways. And I'll turn off the synth for a second here. So, you've got your electric sound, and then you can blend in the acoustic sound, or turn the electric off. Pretty convincing acoustic sound, and certainly very punchy. So I was pretty happy with it in the beginning. And then the long story began. In about May or June, probably May of 2021, I was like, okay, I want to start using the synth capability of this guitar. I bought the GR-55 Roland pedal and was using it with a band, and then very quickly realized that I had tracking issues. The fifth string was barely tracking at all, and the first and second strings were a little bit dicey. The other strings were fine, so it was quite weird. And luckily, the couple songs I used on for that band, it didn't really matter that much that the fifth string wasn't working right. So I kind of made it through that performance season just using it for a couple songs. Then when the winter rolled around, I was like, gig season, playing outdoors kind of wrapped up for 2021. I started communicating with Godin about the tracking issue. They sent me a new module, I'll call it that. It was the synth capability and the piezo module. It was both those functions. And they sent it to me free of charge, and I had a guy who does a lot of my work on speakers and processors and that kind of stuff here in the Seattle area. Gave him a guitar. I know he doesn't do guitars as much as he does the other stuff, but he's super knowledgeable, so I gave him the guitar and that module, and he installed it. Well, when it came back from him, he seemed to be a little perplexed about the whole thing, but I think he thought he had it working. When it came back to me, the piezo part was completely dead. So I replaced the battery. That's another weird thing about this guitar. I didn't realize it actually had a battery in the back, 9-volt battery in the back, because all the other acoustic electric Godins have the really easy push button release for the battery compartments. This one you have to actually use a screwdriver, so I didn't realize the beginning even had a battery. But I guess the guy who installed this module thought maybe that something about the way it was installed or the way it came, or I don't know what, was draining the battery. Replaced the battery, still didn't solve the problem. So basically I created a bigger problem by having this guy work on it. Not his fault. It's a confusing unit. So communicated with Godin, and I was like, this was never right. The first time I tried to use it, even though it took me 5 months to get around to using the synth capability, it should have worked right out of the box. So they agreed to have me ship it back to them. So I paid over $100 after paying the local guy about $100 to do his fix. I sent it back to Godin in Canada. It cost about, I think, $170 to ship it FedEx. And they had it for some time. And when they shipped it back, initially everything seemed to work. So it was like, oh, okay, cool. This is all good now. The synth was all tracking on every string. One thing I actually don't remember is I don't remember what happened with the tracking after the first local guys fixed, because I was so frustrated with the piezo all of a sudden being dead that I didn't even, because that's something I use a lot more than the synth. I don't even remember what the status was, but when I got back from Godin after, I think it was a couple months, it was at least a couple weeks, the synth seemed to be working, but I started noticing that the volume on different strings on the piezo functionality was not equivalent. Like string 3, I think it was way the heck quieter. So at this point I'm like, oh my god, I now paid twice for a guitar that was defective at the very beginning to get this fixed. So at that point I got in touch recently with a guy here, Darren Ross Guitars in Sammamish, Washington. Kind of found him through the grapevine, and he's a local luthier and has done really great stuff. So I was like, okay, his turn. Didn't really want to mail it back to Canada again, especially since it was amazing to me that Godin didn't nail it. This is their guitar. You think their service guys would have nailed it. I've had nothing but good experiences with Godin except for this story, so I thought it was important to share this to just show, in case you're struggling with your xtSA, you're not crazy. This was a bumpy road. Darren communicated a little bit with Godin, found out a little bit more about what type of piezo saddles, I think they're called, that they used, but he just went and ordered new LR bags, saddles at my cost. Took Godin out of the loop at this point. He replaced all the saddles and kind of looked everything over, and lo and behold, when I got back from Darren, he actually fixed what Godin and the other fellow could not fix. So it's working great now. All the strings track, all the volumes and all the piezo are equivalent in track. With the delay in shipping, the delay in not being able to fix it when you're using it, so I couldn't really get it fixed in the summer of 21. My rock band students use it a lot because they love being able to switch between acoustic and electric sounds in the same song from an electric guitar. With all of that, it took over a year to get the functionality the guitar should have come with to actually function. So that's a road that shouldn't have happened. I shouldn't have had to do all that trouble and expense to get a guitar working. I mean, to me, the end result was so great. I love playing these guitars. They sound good. Their native pickups sound good. They play nice. The triple functionality is awesome, and the price tag for the original guitar is not cheap, but it's also, to me, compared to other manufacturers, it's a good value for what you get. So I guess I didn't mind too much having to pay another $300 to $400 total for all these various fixing attempts. But anyway, so this is the end result was a guitar that works. So again, there's the acoustic sound. Some electric, if you put like an electric with delay and chorus. My smart amp needs to be a little bit louder. That's just using the electric acoustic output. Right there. It is true I have separate amps for those two outputs, so that helps. But let me go looking for something that can kind of blend in from the synth here. You give a switch on this guitar and it names it will you to go up. So now I've got some extra strings in there, so I can be like. They're pretty heavy, so let's try something else because that was a little overwhelming. Phase strings. That was a lot more subtle, so this one's called Emotional Ballad. Adds a cool little like pad underneath everything. That's on the mellow side of things, but you also can do like cool rocking stuff. had all those, you know, like synthy type sounds things. I'm gonna go down to one of my favorite lead patches here. So I have this GR-300 one. This sounds really cool. Add the acoustic back in. For some nice crunch out. Thing to play, so I think that's the all's well that ends well, I guess, with his guitar. They definitely took some extra money and some persistence. And a good local repair guy, thank you, Darren, and also some insight, you know, to figure out what was really not working here. Now it's working though. The tracking is very live and solid. Play personally with that sound all day long. So anyway, that's my Godin xtSA story. If you want to know more about this guitar, I have a string changing video because another thing about this guitar is the floating bridge took a little getting used to, especially with like setting it up so it would stay in tune and while changing strings. I have a how to get a good jazz sound out of this guitar video. I've got an unboxing video. I've also got a video where I go through and demo every single preset patch in the GR-55. So check any of those out, and if you like this kind of thing, thanks for watching this channel. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next gear video.